Hello Flosstube, hello fellow creatives, hello cross stitchers. My name is Margaret, this is my channel Maggie Lou Stitches, and thank you for coming to watch me today. I want to give a big thank you to everybody who has commented and liked and subscribed to my channel. I have been enjoying that so much. Thank you for coming and saying hi in the comments. I've had a lot of really lovely introductions. I always say in my videos, come say hi in the comments, and it's like that. People come and say hi. Hi. I love when you tell me where you're from. That's so interesting to me, that this global world that we live in, where we're getting to see each other from so far away, just thrills me. So yeah, please continue to do that. I really want to thank, I've seen a lot of new subscribers and new watchers just in the last week. I think quite a few of you have just found me, and I think it might be from Jackie at Comfort Stitcher, who mentioned me in her last video, and I've mentioned her here before too. And so I just want to say hi, welcome, thanks for watching. I hope you like what you see, and look, how can we not all like what we see when we're all just talking about cross stitching and the things that we love? And you know, that's what I love about this community. You know, how much we actually want to talk about each other as well. You know, sure, there's a little bit of self-promotion. Look at me, look at my stuff. But honestly, mostly we want to say, go and look at that person, and go and look at that person, and go and look at that person. There are so many amazing artists out there doing beautiful work, and I love that we get to share it like this. Like in my first video, I think I called it show and tell, and I feel like that's what it is still. I love showing my creativity and telling you all about it here. So I'm very appreciative of you all being here to listen and watch, both those my loyal friends and family who've been watching since the beginning, some who have no choice, and just all of you who found me. I really appreciate it, so thank you. Today I have a couple of fully finished objects to show you. They're actually ones that are the next creations in my chronology of cross stitch. So from the first episode, I have been going through talking about my earliest influences, including the creativity that I know from my ancestors, what I know of that, but mostly just my mum and my sisters and my family of origin, and going through what I've been making through the years, particularly my cross stitch journey. And where I got to last time, I have two more to show you, and then we're up to date. Then we're up to what I'm working on now, which is my very first ever full coverage, which I'm really looking forward to showing you and talking about what I have learned doing that, doing my first big full coverage. So I'll be talking about that. So let's get into it. Instead of telling you what I'm talking about, why don't I actually talk about it? So let's go to those fully finished objects first, because I'm dying to show them to you because I love them. I want to preface a little bit by saying, these are somewhat my version of fancy ladies. Fancy ladies in the cross stitch term refers to mostly a lot of mirabilia patterns, Bella Filipina, but beautifully intricate fancy ladies in crinoline wear, or in just, anything from mermaids to beautiful female figures dressed divinely, and they're so beautiful to look at and so beautiful to sew. Now, I haven't sewn any. I'm at my local needlework store. They have a good selection of mirabilia patterns and Nora Corbett patterns, and there are many types of fancy ladies. And I've sort of flirted with them before, like, I might take this one, and I just never have. But it's okay, because a lot of you are stitching them, and for that I'm grateful. It's like, you know, we all want to stitch all the things, and a lot of you give it a really good go as well. I do not. I like to keep it really minimal, but what helps me when I get really tempted to stitch all the things is to go and look at Flosstube and go, it's all right, they all are. They all are. I've just got to stick to my corner and contribute to stitching all the things. All right, let me stop gabbing and actually just show you. This is her. Now, I think this is called something really creative like woman walking dogs, which is just a shame to give this just such a basic name. But what I found out when I just went to look up the name to remind myself where I got it and who charted it, the pattern is by Maddison Patterns on Etsy, but I just went to have a look and it says pattern and shop no longer available. So if I find out any more information about where this is available, I'll put it in the notes below, but that's where I got it from, probably about 2 to 3 years now ago. But I love her. And look at that little Westie. Look at him, the one she's holding. I love all of the, this was my first time doing sort of this non-essential stitching, you know, just this whimsical kind of, lots of back stitch in this, as you can see, but goodness, it makes it, it's so artistic, the use of the back stitch and the use of the tent stitch. Lots of, and look at their little tails and their little furriness. I say that this is my alter ego. This is me if I was fancy and living in a cosmopolitan city and I wore beautiful clothes and I went out into the street and walked my Westies with my fur. Well, I'm sure that's not real fur. She's an animal lover, so it wouldn't be. But anyway, it's beautiful. That's me. So that is Woman Walking Dogs. So next is a very different alter ego side to me. This just kept calling to me. I couldn't stop looking at it over months. I think like, am I going to do this next? Am I going to do this next? I don't know. But when it just will not leave you alone, I knew I had to do it. Look at this. This is called Feeling Tender. And I think that is very aptly titled. I think that is a beautiful title for a beautiful piece. And this is my alter ego. This is what I look like when I'm feeling tender. And butterflies come and gather around me and help comfort me in my tenderness. This beautiful girl is charted by Anita Enshiva at crossstitch.eu, based on original artwork by Angie Elfin. And I did go back and find the original watercolour that Angie Elfin did, and it's a really beautiful charting of that watercolour. So I adore her. This is, we're up to date, because since then I stitched my Luca S kit, Berries, and then Carolyn Manning Little Garden. So you've seen everything I've stitched now. What are we up to? I think this is Flosstube 7. And so I guess the first 7 episodes of my Flosstube complete my historical, you know, narrative of my cross-stitch journey so far. And from now on, it's just what I do now, which I'm going to get to now as well, which is really fun, called Stained Glass Butterfly, charted by Stitches So Beautiful, art by a name that I'll put here. Oh, I can never remember that. And I'm loving it so much, so much, so much. Let me show you where I'm up to. Oh, I have much to say about this. That's how big it's going to be. This is where I'm at. I'm at nearly 12%, 11.89% or something like that, which is very satisfying to have gotten so much done. I think last time I was at 6%, and that was thrilling. And to be nearly double that is thrilling. I don't know if I can keep up that pace. Maybe I can. But since this is my only project that I'm stitching on at the moment, it's getting all the stitching. And because I'm loving it so much, I'm stitching a lot. Stitching like it's my job. I have to remind myself that you've got plenty of other things to do, which I do. but I'm loving it. See how I've left all these blank spaces? That's all for this color, which is 989, which is of course going to be the soldering part of the stained glass design. But I had some in stash, so I started, but I ran out, and when I went to reorder it, it was out of stock, and I've just had to wait, and it's coming. I think it'll be here tomorrow. I was hoping it'd be here. Today's Sunday. I was hoping it'd be here on Friday, so I could keep stitching, I'm so reluctant to move the hoop. I do love stitching with a hoop because I use my Nerge lap stand, I put my hoop in it. I love stitching in a hoop. And also I love to stitch with what I have as much as possible. So I know a lot of people do full coverage on scroll frames, but I'm like, well, I don't have one. I could buy one. If it's the right tool to use, I should buy one, but this is doing quite well. I'm sort of going out of order. I'll talk about that, about hoops with full coverage again in a minute when I talk about something else. So, and it's ridiculous how reluctant I am to move the hoop until all of this is finished, because mucking around with little stitches on the side here, poking the needle in, very silly, just move the hoop, Margaret. But no, I did not, because when that 989 colour comes and I get to do all of this stitching, I don't need to look at the chart. And that's some relaxing stitching, isn't it? Like, I just know that every stitch that's left is a fill stitch of 989. And I listen to audiobooks, or I watch Flosstube or listen to Flosstube while I'm stitching. But that kind of stitching, yeah, I can really be doing some other good stuff at the same time, because it won't require as much concentration. So I've been trying to fill in as much of the other colours, waiting for the 989, finish the 989, that section is completely finished, move the hoop, and continue this whole butterfly, doing it in circles, basically. I have learnt that I really am a cross-country stitcher. I just am. I pick a colour and I just go for it. So I started, as you can see here, there's a sort of line. I started up here trying to go line by line, doing like typewriter method, stitching mama's typewriting method, I think. Just let me go. I go everywhere, and I really enjoy that. So, and that's another thing. Well, I want to talk about things that I thought were going to be a problem that I need to address doing full coverage, because, you know, full coverage when you haven't done a big full coverage before seems, well, I'm really going to have things sorted. Otherwise it's going to get messy and it's going to be a nightmare. And so I had thought there were going to be all sorts of things I'd have to deal with. Okay, let me talk about those. So the first thing that I thought is the floss organization. This has 100 colors and, you know, obviously multiple skeins of many of those. And I thought, oh, I'm going to have to get really organized with my floss, you know, and do I want to use floss drops? Do I want to use floss cards? Do I want to bobbinate them? A lot of the colors I already had in my collection. So my current collection of floss is just in those classic bobbin boxes, the plastic ones with the dividers. I've got a big one and a small one, and because my projects in the past have never been more than 30 colours, I sort of use the little one as my project box that has the current colours of my project, and then the bigger box just stores my collection, my stash as it grows. So that's all I've had, and I thought, well, do I want to get more of those boxes and bobbinate more? And oh, but why do that if I'm going to move to floss drops? Oh, I was going to get it right. I was very concerned. I'm going to nut this out at the beginning, and I'm going to get it right from the beginning, and future Margaret will be very pleased with me for doing that. That's not how it worked out, because I had to go to Queensland sort of fairly quickly when I was starting this, and I wanted to take it with me. I just had to do some quick organisation to get things done, and then it turned out I'd sort of fix it later. So what I did, I have all of my crafting, be it knitting yarn or cross-stitch supplies or anything, and I don't have much of anything. I'm not much of a stash builder. I have them all in these clear containers. I don't use project bags, I use project boxes. So this is my butterfly DMC. And all I did to just get some organisation started was I went to the kitchen and I got out my sandwich bags and labelled them. This one is colour 01 to 100, 101 to 199, etc. Threw them right. They're all here in bags divided into 100 colours of. I don't have 100 colours in there. You know what I mean, don't you? Like the colours that fall within that number range go into these bags. And so what I find is I just reach for this when I come to change a colour and it says 989. I just flip to the bag 900. I pick it out. I find the colour in there. I stitch from there. I put it back. I look for the next one. I flip to bag 600. I pull it out. Some only have a few. That's always helpful. And I've just found this is working perfectly. I don't need to worry about it. From thinking, oh, I've got to get that really right, to actually just going with what I had at hand and just making up that system. Yay, it's working. I'm happy. Oh, and so the other thing is bobbinating or flossing or whatever. The other thing that's working for me, and again, you know, people who are more experienced with full coverage might be saying, oh yeah, it's working for you now. You wait till you get further into the project. You know, maybe I'm doing things that I might need to refine throughout. But one of them is I'm just working from the skein. I did not think that would work, but when I was just so desperate to start stitching, I just grabbed a skein. I did the old pull from the number end. I separated to my one, snipped it, started stitching, put that back in the bag as it is, and that is working. I'm just working from the skein. No extra effort required. I'm very happy with that. Like I said, stay tuned throughout this project to see if I come a cropper with that. Oh, so the other thing is, floss organisation was one thing. The other thing was how to deal with this much fabric around a hoop. I see on Flosstube lots of people do different things, you know, tuck it into grime guards, use those magnetic loop things. I have some of them, but I can't remember their name right now, to sort of hold the fabric in. I haven't needed to. I haven't needed to do anything. I just sit this in the nudge frame, one hand just goes under the fabric here, one on top, and the fabric isn't a problem, it just hangs down. And I like it, and it hasn't been a problem. This is my take home, message, my theme for today. Problems I thought I'd have that I don't once I got started. And I think that's the thing. Yes, there's being prepared, and then there's just get started and see how it goes. And it's going great. Oh, I've learned about, I want to talk about the energy of the colour as we're stitching, because I noticed something very, it was subtle, but it was definite. While I am stitching all these colours, all these versions of blues and even purples around here, I'm just happy as can be. I love doing all the blues and the greens, which I mean is no surprise. Look, there's blues and greens everywhere. But blue particularly, I'm just so happy. But I love all colour. I love stitching all sorts of colours. When I was stitching this, it's oranges, yellows and browns. And it was, a few days of stitching, like a few sessions. That takes a while. 1/1 on 25 count easy grid fabric. It's pretty fine work, so that took a while. I really noticed. I felt different while I was stitching that. I didn't enjoy it as much. I was kind of like, I wonder how much longer I've got to do this for. And then I'd sort of catch that thinking and go, what? You're stitching, you love it. I think it was those colours. It feels different. And when I finished that and got back to the greens and blues, I'm back to like, oh, I love this, isn't this great? Now, that could be a bit of a problem. Let's see. Here's a fair bit of yellow, orange and brown in those colours, particularly down here and here. Look, like I said, it's subtle, it's small, but something I've learned. There's an effect from the energy of the colour that you're working with. If you're sensitive to that stuff, I don't know. I think I am sensitive to it, but we'll see. Anyway, at the moment I'm in my happy place because of these beautiful colours. And I also love this kind of effect because if I do make little mistakes in my counting, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. Like as if you could, you know, all of this. It's so speckledy and another word that I'm looking for just melded colours that you can't tell if one stitch should have been one stitch over, and you know, so that's really good. I'm enjoying that. Okay, I think I've said everything about that I wanted to. I think so. I'm loving it. It's my only project, and look, like I said, I'm working on it like it's my job, and long may that continue. Follow along, watch the journey of the stained glass butterfly. Thank you for watching and chatting, you know, letting me chat on about this. Okay, speaking about watching and chatting on about things. So this fabulous place, Flosstube. Look, I have been watching so much Flosstube as I've been stitching this, and there's a couple of Flosstubes that I want to talk about today because I've been smitten by them and I've been really enjoying. And also they bring up some things that I want to talk about with this. Okay, so the first Flosstuber, her name is Barbara, and she is at I knew I was going to get that wrong. Every time this one's a bit of a tongue twister for me, and it's only 2 words. It's Seashore Stitcher. Anyway, Barbara is also a new YouTuber, a little bit newer than me. I think she's got about 3 or 4 videos up, but what a delight. So lovely, and again, so different in her stitching in that she predominantly stitches Riolis kits, which I have no experience in, but I've seen them and I've seen lots of the patterns and I think, what would those kits be like? And she is there to show you. Barbara takes us through well, she loves them. So as she sees it, the really good qualities of these kits and how beautiful they are. She's done plenty of them, but Barbara also has a really wonderful knack for just customizing and changing things to make them her own. And it is so beautiful to see. And she is just, look, as I've said before, I just love about watching Flosstube that you are getting to watch people who just love this craft and get excited about it and are passionate about it and want to share and talk about it. And you can really see that in what Barbara's sharing. Yeah, I'm really enjoying watching her. Go check her channel out. She's great. And also a lot of thrifting and vintage store stuff, old magazines, old books. She's rescuing. She's rescuing on behalf of all of us, all of this old stuff, and putting it to use, finding motifs, finding alphabets, finding things that she can incorporate into her stitching from all of this stuff that already exists. You know, I really love that. But a favour that Barbara did is she introduced me to another Flosstuber called Gary Sly. Gary Sly's Flosstube is called The Legacy of Handmade Arts. No, The Legacy of Handmade Objects. And Gary is in Leesburg. Is it Leesburg or Leeburg? I think it's Leesburg, Florida. And he owns a needlework store there. He also has a TED Talk on the legacy of handmade objects. Anyway, Barbara mentioned him. I found his channel only a few days ago. All of his Flosstubes are only about 15-20 minutes long, mostly around 15 minutes, and I have started at the beginning and I am binging. I'm only up to about episode, I don't know, 25 or something, and there's a lot more. Boy, if you want to go and see somebody who's put a lot of heart and mind into why we love stitching so much, why this is such a beautiful craft, and why the legacy of our handmade objects matters. He talks about it in a genuine way. Also, he has some sort of academic experience to bring to the table, a lot of personal experience. He talks about his own childhood, learning about you know, how important these handmade objects are to us. And he's working in the field. He runs a shop and he is also a weaver. And look, I'm just saying, what a gift his Flosstube is. I have enjoyed it so much. And he also, well, both he and Barbara and most Flosstubers, it's their personableness. They're just genuine people, just going, hi, this is a bit vulnerable, this is me, I love this and I want to talk about it, and I love it. Oh, look, I was going to leave these ones for another episode, but I have to mention two more that I've been watching. Charlie in England, also a new Flosstuber, but this is what is so delightful about her channel. She is also a new cross-stitcher. 4 months, I think. 4 months she's been cross-stitching or something like that. But she has really dived in head first. She's exploring everything and she's presenting what she's learning, what she's trying, everything that she's doing. She has such great presentation skills. I don't know why. Everything she does, explaining what she's exploring, is so interesting. It is such a lovely journey to join her in. I'm really enjoying that. And like she does at the moment, she's doing lots of smalls as well as larger ones that she's starting, but she's doing lots of little magnets. They're a delight. And again, stitching all the things. I haven't wanted to do any little things before. Suddenly, whimsical little magnets seem like a really good idea. So yeah, go welcome Charlie to Flosstube. She's really worth watching. And have I mentioned Jeremiah's mum yet? I should have. Katie at Jeremiah's mum. Again, what a delight. New Flosstuber, relatively. She's been going for a few months now. Lots of episodes because she uploads every week and gives us an update. But her goal in life is to stitch all the things. She, like many other Flosstubers, has many works in progress. I think she was trying to defend why she has more than 60 because she limited herself to 60 for a while. She had a tub and she's got 60 in it, and that's what I do. I've limited myself to 60, and then she was explaining in her last Flosstube how it doesn't really count that there's 64 in there, and the reasons for that. I just was laughing. I was like, no, stitch all the things, Katie, because I'm not. I'm doing this, you know, plodding along with my one at a time, and that's right for me, but like, please stitch all the things. So that is another channel that is fabulous. Gosh, she does some really interesting patterns because she's doing everything from smalls to enormous, intricate full coverage that she's been working on for years, and everything in between. And she makes it so fun and playful because she's involved in so many, like, not just WIP Go, but so many community challenges with her cross-stitching, and she just makes it really fun. And that too, that's not something I'm drawn to. So I'm really glad to watch her, being drawn to her, to watch her do it. It's this vicarious pleasure we get from the different ways that we all approach our stitching, do our stitching, present our stitching, meet each other. Oh, it's really good. Okay, I think that's me for today. Let me just run through it in my head. My finished objects that get us up to date, my butterfly. Oh, that was one other thing I wanted to say. So, okay, Gary Sly, Legacy of Handmade Objects, talked in he's also a framer, and he talked about the problem of hoops and hoops leaving hoop marks in fabric. Now, I have experienced that a little bit. Look, what I'm trying to say is, he said it really can be a problem, and move the hoop often, they can be stubborn. And I do agree. I know what he's talking about, and I have experienced that. But here I am embarking on this, and I thought, I wonder if that's the case for full coverage, where the hoop is mostly going to be actually on the stitching a lot of the time. I mean, particularly by the time I get here, you know, the center, it's going to be, yeah, it's not always just going to be, am I articulating this well? Anyway, my question to any Flosstubers who think they have a good answer for this is, how have you gone stitching full coverage in hoops And has it impacted the finished product by having stubborn hoop marks that you had to work really hard to get rid of, or maybe couldn't get rid of? That's just a question I have. So thank you. If anybody has an answer to that, I'm going to continue to stitch with my hoop. But yeah, I wonder about that. And perhaps that's a case of, again, like the other things like floss organization and everything, perhaps that's a case of me looking forward, thinking, oh, I'm going to have a problem with that, I better deal with that now, and actually finding it's not a problem at all in this case. I still take his point with some projects though. Actually, I did have that problem. That V that I stitched, the V with the little wren from my alphabet series that I stitched for my sister, those hoop marks were stubborn. And I don't know why. And I hope I got them out. It's hanging at her place. I should look next time again. I mean, by the time I took it to the framer, I knew they were going to stretch it. So I was hoping that would be the last thing that really got out those hoop marks. But it was a bit of note to self. They were stubborn. And so Gary was rightly saying, if you stitch in a hoop, just take it out every night. Just take it out every night. I do not. This has been sitting in that hoop since I started 8 weeks ago or something. So any commentary on that will be appreciated. As always, any comments, come and say hi, any introductions, any follows, any subscribers, any likes are so appreciated. I enjoy sharing what I do, and I am so appreciative that you watch and share it with me and interact with me as well. So please continue to do that. But that's it for now. So go enjoy your stitching. I'm going to go and enjoy mine, and stay well till I see you next time. Bye. Not so fast, everybody. I forgot to show you my zentangle in progress. I was just uploading the video and that's when I realized, so I thought, quick, over to the stitching chair and I'll show it to you. I could have just left it till next time, but there'll be so much more work next time that I wanted more frequent progress shots. So this is it right now. It's far from finished. I've got lots more to do. And plus then there's the final stage of shading, etc. But there's much more to do for now. It's not like cross stitch though. I don't know when I'll be finished this. It's not like a pattern that I'm following because it's all just freehand, freestyle. I don't know when it'll be finished. So that's my progress on that. But I wanted to show you one more thing that I also noticed when I was editing the video, and you'll be pleased to know, look, I can move a hoop. Well, actually it's this way. That's the right way. After I watched the video, uploaded it and saw myself talking about this part, I thought, my goodness, Margaret, just move the hoop. So I did. And I've been stitching more down here, and why didn't I just do that earlier rather than waiting to try to finish that section? And I should just move the hoop more often. Let's see if that happens. Okay, everybody, that's it. Off, really, this time. Go enjoy your stitching. Till next time. Bye.